Hello and welcome, my dear Rajesh friends. This is your friend, philosopher, and guide of English, Prabhat Sharma, with you once again. And we are again going to study the lesson, the most interesting lesson and most important lesson, Footprints Without Feet. Same is the name of the book, and same is the name of our lesson number 5. What all things? It's a quick recap. What all highlighting the main points means. First one, two boys on a London street are amazed to see fresh muddy footprints without seeing who was making them. Griffin makes these footprints while walking invisibly. He has discovered how to be invisible and transparent. Griffin has set the landlord's house on fire and flees after making himself invisible when the latter demanded rent. To hide himself, Griffin enters a big store to get warm. He puts on new clothes, eats meat, and takes coffee. He then goes to sleep on a pile of quilts in the store. The assistants of the store find him in the morning. Griffin removes his clothes to escape from the assistants and becomes invisible. Griffin enters a theatrical company and wears bandages on his face, dark glasses, and a false nose, and not to forget a bushy side whiskers. He robs the shopkeeper of his money and escapes to remote Epping village by train to avoid being caught. He takes two rooms on rent in Mr. Hall's inn. He tells that he had an accident and wears bandages due to it. He also tells Mrs. Hall that he doesn't want to be disturbed. Soon his money is finished and Griffin drops a clergyman being invisible. The same day, Mrs. Hall enters his room and is dazed to be attacked invisibly by Griffin. Mrs. Hall feels that their room is haunted. The clergyman reports burglary to the police. Griffin is suspected to have committed it. The village constable, Mr. Jaffers, is called to arrest Griffin on suspicion. Griffin is asked to explain all the unusual happenings as he is suspected to be behind these. But he loses his temper and becomes invisible. Jaffers, the constable, tries to arrest Griffin, but can't do anything to an invisible man. Griffin kicks off Jaffers unconscious and runs away. So, this is what we have learned till now.
Here is the summary of the story Footprints Without Feet by H.G. Wells. Two boys watched in surprise as muddy footprints suddenly appeared out of nowhere. As they watched, another footprint suddenly appeared. Curious, they decided to follow the footprints. However, as they followed, the footprints grew fainter and finally disappeared. There was a simple explanation for the mystery of footprints. The footprints belonged to Griffin, a scientist who had discovered a way to make his body invisible. After carrying out multiple experiments, Griffin found a pill which successfully made his body invisible. This means he could not be seen by other people when he was not wearing clothes. Now, Griffin, though smart, was a criminal. He set fire to his landlord's house just because the landlord wanted him to leave the house. He then ran to avoid being caught. This shows his cruel nature. Griffin was now homeless, without money or clothes, and he was also invisible. Even though Griffin managed to outrun the two boys, his adventures were far from over. It was cold in London, and Griffin was without clothes. He decided to break into a store to escape the cold winter night. When the store closed, Griffin indulged himself by dressing himself in warm clothes. He got food from a nearby restaurant and wine from a grocery store. Well clothed and well fed, Griffin fell asleep in the store. He was discovered in the morning by the store assistants. The only way he could escape was to take off his new clothes and run away as fast as he could. Now, he was naked in the cold winter air again. So, Griffin decided to go to Drury Lane. Drury Lane housed different theatrical companies, and Griffin thought he could find clothes to disguise his face and body there. In one of the stores, he found a false nose, dark glasses, whiskers, bandages, and a large hat to disguise himself. He attacked the shopkeeper from behind to escape. He also robbed him of all his money. These incidents further emphasize his cruel and criminal nature. Griffin left London for the village of Iping. He booked 2 rooms at the village inn. Griffin's arrival was a rare event in the village. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's curious wife, tried to be friendly, but Griffin wanted to be left alone. For a short time, Griffin enjoyed a peaceful time at the inn. However, soon his stolen money ran out. Griffin had to lie to the landlord. He asked for more time. Soon after, there was a curious incident at the clergyman's house. A clergyman is a minister at a church. At dawn, the clergyman and his wife were awakened by noises from their study room. The clergyman quietly entered the room to catch the intruder, but was shocked to see the room empty. They looked everywhere, but could not find anyone. However, their money was missing. That day, the landlord and his wife were surprised to see their guest's door open. Usually, Griffin kept it closed and became extremely angry at any interruptions. Today, however, the room was open and empty. The couple decided that it was the perfect time to spy on their guest. However, as they entered the room, they heard a sniff from behind him. Then, a hat flew at Mrs. Hall. Finally, the bedroom chair flew from its place and rushed forward to attack the couple. Terrified, Mrs. Hall and her husband ran out of the hall. Mrs. Hall was convinced that the room was haunted. The couple, however, felt that their guest was somehow responsible. Then, the couple heard news of the robbery at the clergyman's house. The very same day, Griffin gave them some money. The couple was suspicious and believed Griffin was the thief. So they called the constable and went to their guest's room. When they confronted Griffin, he was angry. Furiously, he took off his bandages. The couple was horrified to see no head on his shoulder. Just then, Mr. Jaffers, the constable, arrived. He was surprised to see that his thief was a man with no head. However, he was a dutiful man. He tried to arrest Griffin, but found it increasingly difficult as Griffin started shedding his clothes. People tried to help the constable, but how do you capture an invisible man? They got hit by invisible blows, and poor Jaffers was knocked unconscious. Griffin managed to get himself free since no one could lay their hands on him.
So that's all for today, my dear friends. Hope you might have understood a lot clearly about the story Footprints Without Feet and the scientist Griffin, how he is doing his tricks. So, till the next video, it's goodbye and good luck. See you again. Take care and God bless you all.